Buying a good TV without spending a fortune is getting harder every year. But the Hisense U65QF is claiming to deliver a bright, beautiful picture at a budget price. So in this video, we're taking a closer look at the Hisense U65QF and what it's really like to use at home. We'll see how the picture actually looks when watching movies, shows, and YouTube. We'll also check if the brightness and colors feel impressive or just average. Then we'll talk about sound, everyday use, and the overall experience. And by the end, you'll know if this TV is really worth your money, or if you should look at something else instead. Alright, let's start with the design. The Hisense U65QF doesn't try to look flashy, but honestly, that's not a bad thing. The design is simple and clean. When you place it in a living room, it blends in nicely instead of trying to steal attention. The screen has very thin borders on the sides and top, so when you're watching movies or shows, the picture feels bigger and more immersive. At the bottom, there's a slightly thicker strip that looks like brushed metal. It's actually plastic, but from a distance, it still looks neat and modern. In the center of that strip, there's a small bump. That's where the remote sensor, status light, and control button are located. The TV stands on two slim black feet placed near the edges of the screen. They're simple, but stable. The TV doesn't wobble, which is always good. Overall, the design won't blow your mind, but it also doesn't look cheap. And honestly, for a TV in this price range, that's perfectly fine. Now, let's talk about ports and connectivity, because this is something people always ask about. On the back of the TV, you get 4 HDMI ports. 2 of them support 4K at 144 Hz, which is great if you connect a gaming console or PC. There's also an EARC HDMI port, which helps if you want to connect a soundbar for better audio. You also get 2 USB ports, which can be used for media playback or accessories. There's a composite video input, an RF antenna connector, and a 3.5mm headphone output. For audio systems, there's also an optical audio output. And if you prefer a wired internet connection, there's an Ethernet port too. So connectivity is actually very solid here. You're not really missing anything important. Now let's talk about the remote. The remote is similar to what you get with most Amazon Fire TV devices. It's thin and easy to hold. The layout is simple, so it doesn't take long to learn. At the top, you get the power button and the Alexa voice button. Then there's a big circular navigation pad, which makes moving through menus easy. Further down, you'll see playback buttons, volume controls, and channel controls. And near the bottom, there are quick buttons for apps like Netflix, Disney+, Prime Video, and Amazon Music. Nothing fancy, but it works well. Now let's move to the most important part of any TV, the picture quality. And this is where the Hisense U65QF really starts to impress. This is a QLED TV with a mini LED backlight system, and that combination helps it deliver a very bright and colorful picture. In real use, the first thing you notice is brightness. This TV can actually push over 1000 nits of brightness in HDR. That's something you almost never see in TVs at this price. Many budget TVs struggle to reach even 700 nits, but this one goes much higher. What does that mean in real life? Highlights look much stronger. Sunlight, reflections, explosions in movies, all those bright moments pop much more. Watching HDR movies on this TV feels exciting instead of flat. At the same time, darker scenes still look deep and detailed. Mini LED helps control the backlight in smaller zones, which improves contrast. But to be fair, it's not perfect. Sometimes you can see a little light bloom around bright objects on dark backgrounds. That's a soft glow that spreads slightly around bright highlights. It's not terrible, but if you look closely, you'll notice it. Still, this happens on many LED TVs, especially in the budget category. Now let's talk about colors. The colors on this TV look very rich and vibrant. Nature scenes look fantastic. Green trees, blue water, colorful sunsets. Everything looks lively without looking fake. For example, in nature documentaries like Planet Earth, the range of greens and blues looks beautiful. Skin tones also look natural, which is important for movies and TV shows. Some colors like magenta can look slightly warm in certain scenes, but honestly, most people will never notice that. Overall, the color performance here is excellent for the price. Another nice surprise is the viewing angles. Many budget TVs start losing color and contrast when you watch from the side, but the U65QF actually holds up pretty well. If you're sitting slightly off to the side on a couch, the picture still looks good. That's great for families or living rooms where not everyone sits directly in front of the TV. Now, let's talk about refresh rate and motion. This TV has a 144 Hz native refresh rate. That's much higher than the usual 60 Hz you see on many cheaper TVs. What does that mean in real life? Motion looks smoother. Fast scenes in movies look cleaner. Sports look more fluid. Camera pans feel smoother. And this becomes even more important for gaming. So let's talk about gaming performance. The Hisense U65QF is actually surprisingly good for gaming. It supports VRR, which stands for Variable Refresh Rate. This helps reduce screen tearing during gameplay.
It also supports AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, which is designed for smoother gaming on compatible devices. Input lag is also low. With a 4K 60 signal, input lag is about 13 milliseconds. With 1080p at 120 Hz, it drops to around 4.6 milliseconds. In simple terms, that means your button presses feel very responsive. If you're playing fast games like shooters or racing games, the TV keeps up nicely. For a budget TV, this gaming performance is honestly impressive. Now let's move to the Smart TV experience. Instead of Google TV, this model uses Amazon Fire TV. If you've used a Fire TV stick before, the interface will feel familiar. You get access to all the major streaming apps. That includes Netflix, YouTube, Disney+, Apple TV, Prime Video, Twitch, and more.
So finding content is easy. You can also stream from Apple devices using Apple AirPlay, which is great if you use an iPhone, iPad, or Mac. One thing missing here is Google Cast, so casting from Android devices isn't as simple. Another thing to mention is ads. Fire TV can sometimes show a lot of promoted content on the home screen. Some people don't mind it. Others find it a little annoying. It's just something to be aware of. The TV also includes Alexa voice control. You can press the microphone button on the remote and ask things like, "Open Netflix," "Find action movies," "What's the weather?" It works pretty well, but one thing missing is hands-free voice control. Some higher-end Fire TVs let you talk to the TV without touching the remote. This one doesn't have that feature. You need to press the button first. Not a huge deal, but worth mentioning. Now, let's quickly talk about broadcast and connectivity. The TV includes an ATSC 1.0 tuner, which means you can watch free over-the-air TV channels using an antenna. However, it doesn't support ATSC 3.0, which is the newer broadcast standard. For internet connectivity, the TV supports Wi-Fi 6, which helps with faster and more stable streaming if your router supports it. So watching high-quality streaming content should be smooth. Now, the big question: who should actually buy this TV? If you want a bright TV for movies and streaming, this is a great option. If you want a big 65-inch screen without spending a fortune, this TV makes a lot of sense. And if you enjoy gaming on a console or PC, the 144 Hz refresh rate and BRR support make it even more attractive. But if you really dislike ads in the interface, the Fire TV system might bother you. And if you specifically want Google TV or Google Cast, this might not be your first choice. Still, for the price, the overall package is very strong. You're getting a very bright screen, great colors, strong gaming features, and a huge 65-inch display. And honestly, that combination is hard to beat in the budget TV category. But I'm curious about something. If you were buying a new TV today, would you care more about brightness and picture quality or the Smart TV system? Because for many people, that choice actually decides which TV they buy. So that's the Hisense U65QF. A simple TV, but honestly, it does a lot right for the price. Hopefully this video helped you figure out if it's the right TV for your setup. But I'm curious, would you actually buy this one or would you go for a different TV instead? And if there's another gadget you want me to review next, let me know in the comments.